I don't know if I've ever told this on the podcast before, but when I was a
Yeah.
child, I was out in Kaneohe Bay on the Sandbar, and I think I was like, I don't know, I want to say maybe 12, 13. And I went out to, we had our little tiny sailboat, and he's out there scrubbing the bottom of the boat. And there are 20-foot, like Cal 20s parked at the end. So meaning like they're 20 feet long, these hulls. And there's 2 of them. And I'm walking out to, because where they are is definitely the edge, because they have long keels, so they can't come up onto the sand. And I don't know why I just didn't walk to the right or the left. I had to walk like this football length section, the furthest point away from my father, to go see the edge of the sandbar. So I'm walking out there, and and the water is about, it started at waist high, and I'm walking out there. I'm walking out there, and I would peek down where I saw these Cal 20s, and there were people swimming, jumping off the boat and swimming just off to one side of it. But I would peek down to see how close I was to the edge every once in a while. And I had a mask on, a face mask.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Now I feel like I have to be more specific.
This feels like a horror story, like the setup for a horror story.
So I see 3 hulls. And I'm like, how can I see 3 hulls when I only see 2 boats on top? So I get closer and closer and closer. And eventually I am so close that I can see these people swimming on the right. They're loud, they're splashing. And I bend down under the water, and I see 2 hulls and a shark that is the exact same size as these boats. And first of all, I can see its eye. I can see its, what do you call, like the gills? And there's big scar/slash marks on it.
Oh no, it's Bruce.
But
it's Bruce from Jaws.
It did. It had some really interesting scarring on it, and it was just looking at me. And I was like, are you real? And I stood up, and then I went back down, and it was still there. And I was like, I know that my heart was racing, but I was frozen for so long just staring at this. I started to back up slowly, quietly, like pretending it's not going to hear me. So I slowly back up, and I'm trying to keep my cool. I just keep checking. It's still there. It's still there.
Oh, no.
But I mean, there was this time where we were just locked eyes. I was just staring at its eyeball. And after Shark Week, that memory was so etched and burned into my mind that I am certain that the shape of the shark, it was a great white, because of the way the snout was, its shape, right? Its face, head. Anyway, so about, 25 steps backward, I spin around and I start running as fast as I can in the water. The water's getting higher now. Now it's up to my chest because the tide's coming in, and I'm just like running. And as soon as I get like, and I'm still half a football length away from my 50 yards, and I'm just like, oh my God, there's a shark. And I start screaming, and I get to my dad's boat. Him and my uncle, they're like, whatever. They pull down the rope ladder. This is the dumbest invention ever. The hull of the boat is, it curves in. So my first step on this rope ladder, I immediately go upside down because the ladder goes under the boat, and I'm trying to crawl upside down, and I'm so frantic. They just I'm like, there's a shark. And they just picked me up and threw me on the boat because they were tired of it.
Yeah.
But they're both trying to be really cool about it. And the next thing I know, they're like, you know what? This looks pretty good. I think we're done. We picked up anchor. Did
they see it? Did they happen to see it?
They never did. But I was like, it took a while, and I'm just living with this for a while. It haunts my dreams, things like that for years. And I had I had done enough shark research to know that couldn't have been possible, because sharks are always moving. Sharks can't stop swimming. But its tail was moving, but it wasn't going anywhere. And so for a long time, I was trying to play it off as it wasn't real, but it would come into my dreams and my memories every so often, and it would be as real as the day that it happened. So finally, I told this, she's a kahuna, and she said that was a shark god, and it allowed you to see it. And so
it didn't want to eat you.
It didn't want to eat me. So it was a Hawaiian shark god. There's lots of them. Like if you even watch Moana, Maui famously turns into a shark.
I love when he does because he's wearing the little grass skirt. he's like, did I do it? No.
but that story is based on Hawaiian mythology. And so I was like, oh, okay. So she told me that this is potentially a family aumakua that was saying hello.
Well, you could say a hello in a less threatening, scary way.
It didn't
How
move.
big were the teeth?
Oh.
How big were the teeth?
It had big teeth. I mean, this is a great white shark. Its mouth was open. It looked like it was breathing. There was water flowing through it. Its little tail, but it wasn't moving towards me. It stayed exactly next to those boats.
It was kind of smiling at you, Mai. It was kind of smiling at you.
I don't know.
That's creepy. Can you imagine if you were in the water though, like on the the boat
swimming
on the other side?
But to this day, I would be like, how come they never saw it?
There's this like video that I saw, and it's basically like somebody swimming and they like look up and they see like the island, and then they look down underwater and they just see some fish. They look up again, and then there's the island, and then they look down and there's this huge great white right in front of their face. Like that would be frightening.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that story. I was mesmerized the whole time. I was like, whoa, that's pretty intense. I have only seen like tiger sharks. I haven't seen a great white except when I did the shark diving, which was like not safe. Well, it was safe because you were in the cage.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've swam with barracudas, but I haven't swam with like open water great white before. So
yeah,
it's kind of frightening.
I don't know if they're normal to come here. You know what I'm more afraid of though are snakes, water snakes.
I don't think you guys have a lot of sea snakes there. I know that if you find a sea snake, they're very poisonous.
They're very poisonous.
Hawaii.
That's why I'd be very scared of them. More afraid of the eels, the moray eels, because they scary teeth.
Moray eels they're not aggressors though. They're more afraid of everything than anything else. Well, wow, Mai, thanks for sharing that story because that one came out episode 30.
33. This is episode 33.
Well, shucks. I can't believe we've made it to 33 already. Dang.
We're so grown up now.
Time flies when you're having fun. Well, I want to save some stories for next time. So thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's so much fun to share stories. And thank you, Mai, for sharing your aumakua story. That actually had me really like in it to win it because I love hearing about creepy crawly things in the ocean. The ocean's so deep.
It's so deep.
And you just don't know. You don't know what's underneath you.
No.
Like trying to decide whether you're its next tasty snack or not. So stick to seaweed, please. We don't taste that great. We're dark meat. Dark meat's not always that tender. So thanks for joining us for another episode of Mai Tais at Sunset. Please be sure to check us out at maitaisatsunset.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and anywhere else you listen to your favorite podcasts.
And until we meet again, ahui ho.